Yeah, nobody was doing it. Dave loved French bands for some reason.
Everyone knows me that knows that I like my bands from France.
It was back in the MySpace days. So Dave loved Watcha and this band called Sick and a couple of other ones.
A few bands like Watcha and Playmo and Sick as well.
So Dave was mad about the French bands, and he had networked into all these other bands. And the singer of Sick was Charles Kallaghan. And
I had met him through his band Sick. They were a really cool band from France.
Cal, as we called him. And so they ended up talking, and Cal was like, hey, come to France, do an EP.
The lads didn't like the new metal that I was listening to, but they liked Sick. So there was a band we all agreed on. And we brought them over to Ireland for a tour. And Cal said, I'm a producer back in France. I can cut you a good deal on recording. Just come record with me. And we did. We said, fuck it, let's do it.
At the time, again, in Ireland, it was a lot of this kind of gatekeeping and stuff like that. And you were supposed to go to the same studios as everybody and use the same producers.
And at the time, getting a good recording here, to sound like the bands that you listen to, just didn't happen unless you wanted to pay a lot of money for it. So I said, fuck it, let's do it. Let's see what can happen.
So everybody was sounding similar, production quality wise. The songs were changing between Irish bands, but it was the same quality of production, same style of artwork, and so on and so forth.
Well, that was it. We just said we could either record here and sound kind of like what we want to sound like. I'm not bashing studios back here. Maybe Brendan is. But we had an opportunity to go and make something that will sound awesome regardless, and out of the comfort zone and just really sound cool. So we said, fuck it, we'll do it.
So nobody's really standing out, and you were supposed to stick around long enough that you get to move up the bill or whatever. And we were ambitious and we wanted to do something different. So this opportunity popped up to go to France, and we said, yeah, fuck it, let's give it a go, and that's what we did.
But it meant scrambling to write a few songs in this quick space of time, and we were already kind of evolving newer stuff. I remember Relic and Bioburden, we had written those straight away after Conviction. So if you listen to those, they sound more like old Revenant than the stuff that came after that was more technical and more kind of a level up.
He was so helpful for where we were as a band, because I can say that we were ambitious, and we had the balls to go and do it, because we could have landed flat on our faces and looked like fucking idiots.
I just remember the jump that was needed, the level we needed to be at.
If we had gone to France, got this big producer and sounded like dog shit. But Cal was not going to allow us to sound like dog shit. And he taught us so much, because I can say we were probably not ready. We had to spend a lot of time on the drums.
Starting with a metronome. I mean, we need to use a metronome. We need to figure out what the song BPM the song is in. Things like that.
In order to get it in time or whatever, because we were used to a certain standard, and now we'd stepped up to another level of expectation or professionalism, and we weren't quite there yet.
Recording previously, we'd be like, oh, I hope no one heard that mistake. Oh, it's okay. And I'm like, nope, do better.
So he dragged us to the level we needed to be to pull off that EP.
Just, you have your sheet for planning out the album. You're having your album mapping out meeting at the beginning. You're doing drums and editing them before you go on to guitars, and then when you're doing guitars, you're fucking making sure, okay, you're not fucking up the riffs, and even at that, using Pro Tools to kind of try things a different way. There are certain moments in the album where it's like, hang on, let's swap this verse and chorus, and the technology exists that you're able to do it and it sounds good, rather than let's change that, re-record the whole thing. I mean, come on. Even in 2007, that was how you did things. So I can say that without Cal, number one, we learned so much from him, and number two is without him, we never would have evolved as a band. Because digital recording, you don't need to play the song the whole way through, just focus on area by area. So, it's common practice even back then. You don't have to play the whole song the whole way through, and it's cool. Just you can make sure each area, each part of the song is as good as it can be, and those are things that we never considered before. I mean, and that's what we took back. And like even techniques like quad tracking. I quad track everything now, and sure, it sounds like there's too much guitars, but I like that.
That trip to France was absolutely vital for transitioning us from Revenant to Thoughts of Ruin, both in name and in song structure, in quality, in everything. So he was vital, and even though we later didn't work with him more, he's such an important part of what that EP or what that album was and what Thoughts of Ruin became. So I cannot say enough how much he helped on that production.
We were the first English-speaking band, I think, that he'd ever worked with, so he really had to get good at his English.
Oh, eat my ass.
All week talking like this.
I mean, right now, anyone that's been following Cal, he's a big deal now, and he works with some pretty big bands, and that's an understatement. He works with big fucking bands, and I could not be prouder of him. Fair play to him. Like, I do miss the guy, and like I've worked with him a couple of times since Thoughts of Ruin, and it's good times working with him. And I didn't get to speak to him that much, dude to dude during the recording because we were working so hard. But doing the I Burn albums, it was cool. We bonded over that.
So our goal was go to France, record an album, it'll sound good.
The goal was just make an album, a recording that was better than what was back home.
And then as we started writing the songs and started recording the songs and we started to hear what this was going to sound like, we were like, this could be bigger than we realized.
Come back with something that we were proud of. Have people go, holy shit, listen to that, and we're like, oh, I know. And I think we did that.